I think I've been told the story a couple of times, but I think the first trial I went to, I just repeatedly fouled Joe Bedford to the point that I got like told to mark someone else.
Are we starting a trend that we are bribing the refs, and we're saying this publicly now? Is that what we? Yeah, in order to finally topple Trojans.
Can't have a better rebound position, and he would make me like feel like I'd be jumping as high as I could, and he would take the ball off me every time. I think one of the reasons why I love defending so much is I just love running around like chasing after these really, really good players and trying to stop them score, which was pretty hard, if not impossible. I mentioned all those great boys, but you know what? If I was to throw the ball to someone in a clutch moment to score, it's going to be.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the second episode of the For Korf's Sake podcast, hosted by me, James Sawyer, and the legendary co-host, Caitlin Fitzgerald.
Hello, everybody. We're back again.
We are so back. We are so back, and we're ready for round two. How's your week been, Caitlin?
Yeah, all good. Obviously, no Korfball at the weekend, and it's the international break in football, so I was really just my two greatest loves taken away from me this weekend. But at least we had this to look forward to. But anyway, how are you?
Yeah, I'm all good. I hope that your girlfriend doesn't watch this, because that's a shocking thing to have said on the pod, on the second episode of the pod. My two greatest loves have been taken away from me. My weekend was boring.
We'll address it in the edit.
Yeah, good point. Edit that out. Right, well, folks, get ready for another episode of Banging Action. Before we start, I think we probably should address some thank yous, Caitlin, because we released the first episode on Saturday, and what a response it's been, right?
No, truly, everyone has been really nice, both publicly, by liking posts, sharing them, commenting, engaging with things we've been putting out, but also people messaging me privately. That sounds very top secret. They've literally just sent me a message on WhatsApp, but really, really grateful. This kind of content is something that everyone is really excited for, and I just hope we don't let them down.
It definitely feels like there's a fair amount of pressure, doesn't it? For sure. Everyone's saying this is what's required, this is what's needed, we love it, we can't wait for next week's episode. And me and you are like, great, there's passion, but what about if we fluff it?
Yeah, we got away with 1 week. Can we do it twice?
Yeah, exactly that. After that, the listening just goes completely through the floor and no one tunes in anymore. And it really is just us two, Mads, and your mum,
Shout out.
Get the key shout outs in their early doors. Right. Before we bring on our mega guest, our legend guest, I do just want to run through last week's results, because there were some absolutely amazing games this weekend. As Caitlin mentioned, sadly, no game for Beck and Nomads. But Caitlin, I'll give you some time to kind of, I guess, just update the listeners that maybe don't know, or ones that do know, on the results over the last Sunday.
Yeah, so I'll start with probably the weekend's biggest surprise, Kingfisher getting a draw against Bristol. Buzzer beater winner from Mallory Gore, I've heard. Our secret spy, John Denton, was able to update us. So really great result for them. It's a Kingfisher that we know is there. Like, we know that core group is really talented, so really happy to see that for them. And then the other draw of the weekend, Trojans Knights, Lizzie Tighe, to blame for this, for manifesting a Norwich Knights draw so early on. She brought a bit of the curse of the draw to her own team. But I think for both teams, probably quite a fair result. Really goes to show that anyone can take points of anyone this season for the vast majority of teams. So another really cracking result. The other results still really, really interesting too. Tornadoes getting the win over Tigers. They'll be really pleased with that, beating those teams in and around them. Solid win for them there. Tigers won't be happy with that goal tally, but it's their first loss. They're doing pretty well. Just got to move on from that and see what they can do next week. And finally, last but not least, big win for Bromley over Bearsted. They'll be really pleased to have hit 18 goals again and can keep collecting points to see where they end up. So yeah, really great weekend overall, and much more to come this season, I'm sure.
Yeah, some really great results, and a quick one from me to say the feedback that we've had over the last week has been all around how great it is to have Korfball content. some of these matches look like they were some of the best matches that we might see all year. And I have had insight that these were filmed, and I'm just begging and praying that these are uploaded and sort of beckoning everybody that records these to get them onto YouTube, get them onto a platform where we can watch. Half of the work that Caitlin and I are doing to try and build buzz around this platform and build buzz around this community requires that gameplay to really, like, you know, kind of help elevate that. So please upload the footage, not just because it helps us, but mostly because we really want to see it. 2020. That's incredible. 2 games, 2020 draws. That's it. The Oracle Lizzie Tighe has spoken. Now you just need to make sure that we can see it. Sweet. Right, Caitlin. I think it's time for the first player profile episode of the podcast. Are you excited?
We've got a good one, everyone.
It's a good one, right?
It's got to be good.
He's gonna be quaking in his boots in the waiting room before we bring him into this. But do you think I should start the intro, Caitlin? Do we think we should bring him in?
I mean, for me, your intros were the highlight of the episode, so I can't wait for this part.
You know, I wanna make sure I'm giving everybody adequate gas, shall we say? So
Here we go.
this man is one of the most insightful people I have ever met within the korfball community. His brain is almost as talented as his skills and his source on the court. He is a 3-time National League champion, a Champions League bronze medalist, multiple goals and national appearances for England, arguably the best defender in the National League and currently part of one of the most dominant divisions to ever grace the English sport. Recently described by his manager as having the smartest korfball brain he's ever worked with. And over the next 40 minutes or so, Caitlin, you and I are going to get to pick this brain. How exciting. So, one of my favourite people in all of Korf, I know it's one of Caitlin's as well, one of the biggest Korf nerds you're ever going to meet. It is an enormous pleasure to welcome the man, the myth, the legend that is Mr. Marcus Tighe. Welcome to the pod.
Here he is.
Thank you for having me on, guys. I mean, after last week, I feel I have big shoes to fill, but yeah, really excited to be on board, guys. It's already loved episode 1. Hopefully not going to tear down episode 2 by having a howler, but yeah, can't wait.
Let's embark the sibling rivalry there. You know, we basically just got the ties on, Caitlin. First 2 episodes, the entire Tighe family. That's all this podcast is.
It's working our way through Team Tighe here.
I'm sure there are other ties that are available, but yeah, for the sake of your podcast, you should probably branch out pretty quickly after this. Because I'm pretty sure there is more to korfball than the ties.
A humble man.
Very, very humble. Marcus, how has your week been, buddy? How you been going?
Mate, great. I am a little disappointed there's not been much korfball to watch. Obviously, I was looking forward to Monday. Some great games had happened on Sunday. Disappointed we didn't get to play, but understand, the difficulties there are finding refs at the moment. But mainly disappointed that there wasn't any korfball to watch come Monday. Got to watch the Cambridge Tornadoes game, but that was it. When there are 2 draws on the weekend, I want to be able to watch more.
Well, Caitlin, it's almost like we haven't had this discussion beforehand, but that is pretty much exactly what I just said, Marcus. Maybe like a minute before you came on was a plea to the teams to do that. And also, I feel like we have to give the listeners a rip back the curtain a little bit and let them know that prior to starting to film, Marcus arrived onto the pod with the same jumper that Caitlin had on, and we forced him to change it for continuity.
That's a little behind the scenes exclusive for everyone.
That's the standard that we set. That's the standard that we set, Caitlin. You know, they do what we tell them.
Mate, at least you didn't all turn up in our Beck tops. That's next time.
I did consider suiting and booting, to be fair, but I thought that would be a dangerous precedent to set. I didn't want anyone else to then think that, that was what they had to do. So, yeah, just tried to copy you instead, Caitlin.
I love it. Right. I think to begin with, what I think both Kate and I would love to know, and I'm sure the listeners would love to know, is how you actually got into korfball and kind of where it all started a little bit.
Great question. It's been many years now. I think I try and think I think it's probably been about 17 years. I mean, my sister is probably the reason me and the rest of the Tighes got into korfball, and she has the Buttongers to thank. So Max, Penny, for those that know them, they invited, well, Lizzie's best friend growing up was Jana, and one of the Buttongers basically brought us along to a summer camp where korfball was probably the main theme. So Avon Tyrrell, as it was, I think it's now relocated, so it's got a different name. But yeah, we went to this korfball summer camp, absolutely loved it. and then got back to Harrow and set up a club. So yeah, sort of got into it because we came to a summer camp, tried it out, loved it, and then yeah, Harrow was sort of born out of that. So it was Lizzie, her mates, sort of setting it up. I was the annoying younger brother, sort of trying to be involved.
I love that. You were like, we love this sport. Let's just create our own team and take over.
It was a gradual process, to be clear. We did, I'd say Harrow definitely excelled with me and Lizzie leaving. Its success definitely happened post me and Lizzie. Lizzie went to university, and I joined the mighty Beck. Basically at a point where I didn't get picked for an England squad at some point. I thought I need to play at a higher level at that stage. So yeah, went over to Beck, where I got to get sorry to insult my dad, but I got a better level of coaching from the England coach at the time, Dave Buckland, and got to play with the best players in the country, or some of. So yeah, that's sort of where Harrow started, and then obviously now got a lot of love for Beck, and that's where I am now. So yeah.
And how long were you at Harrow prior to moving? I actually don't think I know this.
I'm not sure. The annoying bit is that Fixtures Live probably could tell me this if I'd done the check before. But obviously, we've moved around from different stats providers. But yeah, I think probably like 2-3 years, maybe a little longer. But yeah, it was definitely my early Korf years in Harrow. But I'd say I became like a far better player at Beck just because the level was so high that in training, when I was playing second team when I moved there, for the majority of the time I was there pre university, I was in the second team, but I got to train with the likes of Joe Dav, Ben King at the time, Andrew Hall. Yeah, those people really brought you up. Can't even remember what question you asked, but I had to talk about Beck again.
I have quite a similar story, being at Bromley for a couple of years and then wanting to kind of go to that next level. You've already kind of alluded to it, but what were the factors in making that decision? Because obviously it was quite a big, I mean, it still is a lot of travel for yourself. But yeah, what was the thing that ultimately drew you to Beck?
Yeah, I mean, I think at the time it was an under-16s England tournament. I hadn't been picked, and in my eyes, like I don't think I had lots more that I could be getting from playing what was probably like, it might have been local league at Harrow at the time, or at least if we were in the regional league, we were losing every game. Whilst there were a lot of players older than me, I think a big bunch going to university, so I thought that I really should look to try and play somewhere else to get pushed, to get better, to sort of get myself in the door of like an England youth team. And then the options on the table, it basically only really looked like Beck for me at that point, because I think this was that summer, or like that end of the season, I had watched I think it was the first time Beck got to the National League final, an amazing golden goal game that I know Caitlin was part of. Being a Korf nerd, had watched that, thought, wow, what a team, what a group of players. And Dave Buckland at the time was the coach and was the England coach, one of the most successful coaches in the country, and was coaching England. So I thought, where else to go where else to go to learn the ropes other than Beck? I went there. I think I've been told the story a couple of times, but I think the first trial I went to, I just repeatedly fouled Joe Bedford to the point that I got told to mark someone else. I'm
Who
sure.
told you that?
I don't think Joe tells the story, but Rooney from Harrow Korfball, who was also at Beck at the time, will remind anyone and everyone when he listens that he was like, I was there for Marcus's first session, and he wasn't great then, basically, was the story he told.
And when you first came over, how was it how did you find that step up? Was it kind of bigger than you felt, or kind of what you were expecting? How was that?
I knew it was going to be a massive jump, to be honest. Again, it was largely kids at Harrow, and I'm sure that there'll be other clubs where people have that as the case, where it's just massively was built on youngsters. The adults in the team, I think, at one point were my dad, Max Buttinger, Penny Buttinger. So people that were probably I don't want to be rude and get their age wrong, but probably in their 40s or 50s at the time, had in Max and Penny's careers, they had played for GB or England many moons ago. So they were good players, but they were never going to push me. So when I got to Beck, I'd say the second team at that point was fairly strong. A lot of the time we'd have a first teamer, like boy or girl, drop down for a lot of our games. So got to play with some great players. Like, like I remember one of my favourite Beck 2 games I'd ever played was like Johnny came down and played with us. And I got to experience what it was like having basically a rebounder that would collect whatever rubbish I put up and then would somehow get the ball into my hand. But then also, it was just the level of competition in training was so high. When the training was mixed, being like 16 years old and then having pretty much a full group of boys that had or were going to play for the England senior team meant that any opportunity I got, I would happily play against them, often get shown up. But yeah, I think one of the reasons why I love defending so much is I just love running around again, like chasing after these really, really good players and trying to stop them score, which was pretty hard, if not impossible. Because
I am so sorry, as an Asda delivery. Imogen was meant to be home, but she's not. I'll be back in 2 seconds.
That is quite possibly the best. That is fantastic. Guys, we over here on the pod, we don't mess around, but life gets in the way sometimes. And listen, Caitlin needs her Weetabix. You think a player of that caliber gets up in the morning and drops the goals that she does about that Weetabix? That Asda man right there is fueling the greatness that exists on this podcast, folks. Absolutely awesome. That's one of my favourite bits. whilst Caitlin's gone, mate. Firstly, I love the fact there's continuity between you and I, and the fact that both of us seem to join Beck after watching them bottle a final. That seems to be, which is probably an unnecessarily savage comment for the Beck club, but I play for them now, so it's fine. Out of interest, while Caitlin's gone, who out of those players that no longer play at Beck, who out of those did you most enjoy playing against? Who do you feel like gave you the toughest time, and who do you think you learnt the most from?
that don't play at Beck now. I mean, to play like Andy Hall was definitely the one that I don't know, it's so tough. Well, I guess it's balanced because Andy Hall was I'd say not as polished as he is now, but in terms of attacking would still just create chances. I mean, he was like nicknamed Andy Wrecking Ball because he was so physical. But I'd say like he was a great like player that you could definitely see was just going to keep getting better because getting pushed by the players around him. But then I'd say Johnny, in terms of someone that I was like, does one job that well that he got himself into multiple teams. Like that Trojans team were as good as they were when he was in it, partly because he basically slotted in and didn't do a lot of outside shooting, but didn't need to because he had the players around him. But no, that was the bit. Sorry, Caitlin, we're doing a bit of filler while you're gone.
I'm so sorry.
That
He
is
was meant
phenomenal.
to, Imogen's meant to be back because parents' evening, and I was like, what's that knock? Why doesn't he keep knocking? And I was like, oh my God, he's here already. How am I going to go deal with it? Anyway, all done.
Now that the big Fitz is back, now that she's back, what I think would be a lovely transition from the Asda shop. I would genuinely love to know, Marcus, before you were talking about the jump. How do you feel like you broke into that Beck squad? And when do you feel like that kind of break-in happened, and how?
Yeah, I mean, it definitely wasn't before like university. In terms of if you're looking squad being that first team squad, I was involved with some first team games before I went to university. And I got to go to Europe, so I got to see what like the Shield was like at the time. So like the tournament that second team in National League was going to. So I got to be on the side and watch sort of high quality Korf, but was not at the same level as those boys, being not a fully developed adult. Decision making probably wasn't there, and also just the group of players were ridiculous. I wouldn't put great money on like adults joining that team and getting in. So I wasn't ready yet. I got lots of opportunities before to be involved and learn lots, but it was when I got back from university that I'd say I sort of broke into the squad. Timing wise, it was probably fortunate that Kieran Hicks was going to the States the season I was coming back. So he probably played a game or two at the beginning of the season where I rejoined. And then there was sort of one of the spots opened up a bit. And it meant that, so the starting boys were like Dav, Blake and Joe Bedford. And then suddenly me and Billy were probably trying to fight for that final spot to start. So that was the point where well, whether it was John's choice or not, he sort of had to get me and Billy involved. I think we would have been involved if Kieran had been there. But yeah, that was sort of it. Like, I feel like fortunate timing is probably the key bit. I felt like I came back and played really well, but if people know sport, it's really hard if a team's pretty good to then break into an established team. So yeah, timing, right time for me, and that was probably part of it.
Yeah, I think you're doing a little disservice to yourself there. I think you were very much in and around that group anyway. But I know people have said this before, but the continuous improvement of yourself is something that's been really great to see, and yeah, witness firsthand and play with you again against you. But we're not here just to amp you up. But I'll do a little bit more amping before I move on to the next thing. And I think a lot of people, when they are asked to name a top defender, you will be a name that comes up a lot. Don't know why, no, but yeah, justified. But I would also have you in that group of those that really really strong, solid, elite defenders that you would put against a point attacker in another division. So for you, what does make a perfect defender, and what attributes do you think you have, and what formulate that all-round perfect defender, a role that is probably underappreciated and overlooked quite often?
Yeah, I mean, thank you. You're very kind. And yeah, I back myself defensively, and think it's one of the things that I like always want to be good at, because I think it's definitely a key part of the game. And I think as a team, Beck now, it's one of the things that we identify as being like important to our culture is defending well. But yeah, things that as an individual I think vital. Like, first one probably is fitness. Like, you have to be able to keep with the player in front of you the whole game. And to be fair, I don't think I defended last year to the standards that I would hold myself to, but I was injured a fair portion. But I'd say that was like the most evident bit for me, that I was like, oh, I'm not defending as well as I want. Partly because I can't either maintain sort of the intensity I want to, or like if you're thinking about your ankle or your knee, suddenly that makes it a lot harder to stay the right distance from your player the whole time. Fitness is like massive. Have to be fit and like ideally really quick. I know plenty of great defenders that weren't super quick, but yeah, if you're going to be quicker than your opponent and can get into the space before they do, or like look at Blake. The reason Blake's amazing is because he makes a mistake and then is able to like correct himself and get back round a player quicker than anyone else. So I guess the counter to that though is like not like risk management or not making mistakes, like being able to make the right decision that actually, are you going to go for a loose ball, or are you going to leave your player under the post, and deciding actually like making really quick decisions of going, actually, I'm playing against Dave Brooks. I'm not going to leave him because if someone gets him the ball, he'll score. The person getting that loose ball won't. And or knowing that it's like, actually, I should get to that ball first. I don't know. Decision making is massive. Yeah, I think decision making, fitness probably play pretty key role.
Yeah, no, I agree. We haven't all got that kind of get out of jail free recovery that Blake seems to have. He not fully, but like looks like he's overcommitted, but he'll get back. So yeah, fitness is definitely, I think mine would be my first one too.
I'm definitely going to weigh in here as well. I've watched a huge amount of Bet Korfball, and I think that one thing that you probably haven't mentioned, Marcus, that often is overlooked that I think you do exceptionally well, your communication is absolutely stellar. And I really noticed this watching the grand final against Bristol. You can just hear your voice all over the court, but defensively, you can hear when you're making calls for players, when balls are going in certain directions, even when you're defending, you're not at the post, which is traditionally a post player's role and job is to communicate. You're communicating consistently with the entire division. And I think when you're playing like a really aggressive front defense approach like Beck do, I think that you're so imperative to that. And I think that's why that division's defense looks so dominant.
To be fair, I think I appreciate it. And yeah, communication is definitely a key part. And that's like the team aspect. Like, I'd say if you watch us versus most teams, I'd be really surprised if in the National League we aren't the loudest team that most teams come up against. And I don't mean loudest in terms of what we're saying is the loudest, but in terms of overall volume of the amount of information we're giving each other. Yeah, it's massive. Like, whenever I play in like different setups with new people, I'd say one of the first things I nearly always say is like, you need to tell me as much as possible as early as possible, because it's what I expect out of other people, because I will do it for them. Even if I haven't lost, like, even if I think they might get a feed, I'll call it early, because like defensively you should make an adjustment, and having like a split second more to react, is pretty massive. If you're playing against Toby Clark, rapid player, you having that slight advantage, that slight step back before the feed is there, means that you can cover off and make better decisions. So yeah, no, a great point, James. I'm glad you said it. It's definitely something, yeah, again, I chat a lot anyway, so I just bring that on the court as well.
Yeah. You said Toby Clark there as an example of one of the more rapid players in the league. As a defender of your level, you will probably be put against what is seen as the strongest attacker of other teams, who in not even recent years, just ever has been one of the hardest players you've ever had to play against. I'd be really interested.
I don't want to out myself for times where I feel like I've been like mugged off by someone, but
We've all been there.
the two times where like I would be like, yeah, I don't think I could do anything like more than what I was doing was like I played at one of the years I was at university. I like played at Birmingham while they were in the National League, and the time we played Trojans, I wanted to mark Dave Brooks. I think me and Stuart, both McConvery, both were like, yeah, both wanted to have a go at Mark and Dave Brooks, and I think he scored on the first attack and went on to score 9 goals in the game. I don't think I marked him the whole time, because I think we both tried to do our job. But yeah, it just felt like whatever I did didn't really matter. And this is it was the only time. Like, I'm fortunate that I'm 6 foot, so in the National League, I'm probably mid height, maybe above average height. But I'd say for the shorter players, I had so much sympathy in that game, because genuinely I felt like I was standing on his toes and had my hand up like right in his face, and it just didn't matter. Like, I would argue some of them might have been defended if I was looking at the letter of the law, but that's not what it was called, and it didn't matter. Like, I genuinely might have had my fingers up his nostrils for some of them, because I think I gave away 3 passes trying to get closer, but it didn't matter. He'd put it in put the ball in the basket, no matter how much pressure I was putting on, and then also just make ridiculous killer passes to other people. So yeah, in defensive terms, the time that I've been made to feel like a bit of a kid is Shane Buckland, one of the years that we were sort of fairly close to them in the regular season. I think I didn't start against him, got moved down the end to play with Joe maybe, and I just couldn't win a rebound for I again think I'm a fairly good rebounder. Rebounded positioning, because I'm not the tallest player, is quite good. Genuinely would feel like, yep, can't have a better rebound position, and he would make me like feel like I'd be jumping as high as I could, and he would take the ball off me every time, and then on the outside could just put so much pressure on me. He was like so athletic as well as so tall, and his brain, like his decision making was so strong that basically knew exactly where I wanted to pass it every time. So yeah, on that end of the court, whilst I'm not the world's best point attacker, I would dread to have Shane on me week in, week out. So yeah, I'm sure he's only getting better in the Netherlands as well at the moment. But yeah, dread to think what it'll be like when he comes back to National League and have to play him again.
Yeah, 2 really, really great answers. I think Dave Brooks was just that kind of player, wasn't he? Where you would hear that he'd scored 14, and it would just be like, yeah, I'm sure. And that I've seen obviously I've had to play against him, but I've seen that level of pressure applied. And 1, you're like, how's he got the shot up? 2, he scored it. Again and again and again. And there's such kind of something to be said in a player like Dave, where it's not probably the fastest 1-on-1, but is able to use the ball and read the game to generate just that right amount of space and be able to sink it. Something I'm definitely very envious of.
I would love to. That's a beautiful segue to one of the next things I want to speak to you about, Marcus, because we are talking about who I deem genuinely to be the king of korfball. Dave Brooks is just the man, right? And I wanted to talk to you about that Beck final where you kind of finally did it, where we finally toppled the dynasty that is Trojans and one of the most impressive korfball teams, definitely the most impressive korfball team ever in England. But you obviously came onto that game and you had to come on as a defender in that game. So I'd love to firstly get your thoughts on what that was like to join the game and to try and, hold out as we were being sort of clawed back at. And then the second part to the question is, there's a moment where I'm sitting on the bench and I've been so confident Beck are going to win the whole time. And then I look at golden goal and Dave Brooks has the ball in his hand waiting to start. And that's the first time in the whole game where I was like, I think Trojans might do this, right? Whereas we've seen this story before. So I'd also love to get your opinion on that attack where you steal the ball back before we go down and Rachel Turner does the jolly.
Yeah, I mean, in the regular season that year, I thought I'd done, like, when I'd come on, I like vividly remember feeling like very, very in control defensively. And I guess that for me, an improvement from when I played Dave years ago, I normally was going to mark Dom, but I'd switched to Dave at points and felt like Blake and I felt confident that we could stop them creating chances or could get the ball back. So thankfully came in with confidence. I'd say at that point in the game, it's really hard to remember that, but came in knowing that like they'd struggled to score when I was on the pitch in the regular season. So tried to bring that energy in. But yeah, definitely daunting when a genuine classic Beck situation of we'd been really strong up at points and then they called back. So yeah, having watched a lot of finals, a lot of korfball when I hadn't been on the pitch, like when I was at university or the ones at the Copper Box, yeah, did have a slight nerve in the back of my head, but yeah, definitely tried to ignore it. So yeah, and then when going into golden goal, it was, I don't want to be like unfair on the play, but I think I was playing with Shannon and Ashley, and I remember when we were doing sort of the talk about what we were going to do just before golden goal started. Genuinely, it felt like Shannon and Ashley were only there in body, not in spirit. So yeah, it was probably, which is fair enough. After the game that had been going on, I'm sure they were shattered. But yeah, I remember very much being like, right, guys, we've got this, right? We've got this. To which there was some slightly vacant nods. So yeah, definitely nervous. And yeah, like you said, with Dave and Dom, and I'm trying now to remember who was in it, Cat. That division has just got so many players in that you think will score if they are given half a chance. So yeah, just wanted to be as close as possible.
Yeah, two things I want to call out for the listeners that will maybe we'll be able to get on the screen, but if not, you have to go and watch it. Is at one point Marcus almost falls to his knees when Dom takes the shot, which is hilarious. And then I'm pretty sure, and I haven't watched this back and I should to really clarify this, maybe we'll edit this bit out if I'm wrong, but when Cat gets done, maybe a controversial decision for time wasting, Marcus grabs the ball so fast and moves the ball out. And I think we have to recognise that in golden goal, they would have been desperate to mark that ball out, but by the time they'd even had a chance to process it, you'd literally thrown the ball straight up the other end essentially. And I think that's a really important moment. These are the small things that can make a big difference to a game under pressure. And yeah, I'm sure a lot of people might not have necessarily noticed that before, but yeah, when I look back, I think, goodness, that was a good call from you. That was a smart move. So yeah, credit where it's due in terms of that, and was great to finally. Yeah, well, I know how happy Caitlin was as well. So yeah,
I just kind of shudder when you mentioned that Don Brooks shot. I don't know why I really vividly remember it, and I was like, "This is the one. This is the one." It just rolled over the top, and I was like, "Thank God, finally, maybe there's maybe it's Beck's time." But yeah, what a what a final! Finally got over the line.
To be clear, I'm pretty sure the only reason he got free for that shot is there was a moving screen from Dave under the post. If you listeners watch carefully, I would put my memory of it is that I was blocked on my route. But yeah, don't worry, I still can remember turning around thinking that ball had gone in. So yeah, grateful it didn't.
Don't worry, I think it was Steve Jones reffing made up for it with that time wasting call.
No, definitely, 100% was time wasting.
Time wasting in attack, yeah. But
cheers,
we won't. I'm great, yeah. Cheers. I'll try. I've been saying, told you I'd pay you a while ago, but got lost in the post.
Are we starting a trend that we are bribing the refs and we're saying this publicly now? Is that what we? Yeah. In order to finally topple Trojans, we yeah, goodness me. Anyway, we're going to ask Marcus, who is, by all accounts, according to Bossman, the smartest brain he's ever seen in korfball. And this is John Denton, who's coached some big, big names in the world, the Davesh Patels of the world. So this is huge gas for you. Should probably find out. How do you feel about that, by the way? That's big gas from
Mate,
the coach.
Obvious, mate, so flattered. But yeah, the family group chat has absolutely annihilated me for it. So both grateful and disappointed, hoping no moments come from this that I get taken the mickey out of. But yeah, no, it was like such a nice touch from your coach to like have really positive things to say about you. So yeah, really grateful. It feels like a great endorsement when your boss, your gaffer tells you that they think you're a great mind, which yeah, appreciate it.
That is good. It gave the family gas as well, though. It wasn't just you. So I mean, they've got to take some of that as well, right? So
Absolutely.
Anyway, right, we'll take this brain, Caitlin. We're going to take this genius brain of his, and we're going to ask him to build the perfect korfball player, okay? So we're going to run through. I'm going to tell you the category, and then I want you to tell us the player that you're going to choose. Now, the rules of this are very simple. It's any gender. You can only pick players that have played in the English Korfball League, because the reality is we can't just pick Dutch players for everything. So please, Marcus, if we start off and we ask you, you're having to build your perfect player. Who are you taking for speed?
The problem is that I could probably say Blake Palfreman for every one of these questions. I'm saying it now, calling it early. I could probably say my perfect player would be Blake. Do I think it would be him for speed? Look, there are some great, like Charlie Vogel in his prime was absolutely rapid. Toby Clark is absolutely rapid. Blake is I think it goes unnoticed sometimes that speed is one of those things that he has as a massive strength, just because I think people commonly say he glides across the court, and he takes one step for three normal human beings. So yeah, I'm gonna put Blake just because I think, yeah, I spoke a little about it early. Sorry, Charlie and Toby. I think both of you have probably been a little shunned there by me, but yeah, if I could have Blake speed, I'd take it.
You've used your 2 Blake Palfreman cards. You've used one of them already.
Fine.
I'm joking.
Other than that, I think there are other people I can pick for a lot of them.
When Mads made the draft of the visual that we're going to see on the screen, for some reason Blake was just in every single one. So for every single one, it just had Blake. And then me and Caitlin were like, well, maybe that's just it. Maybe we just, and then we're like, we can't both love Blake. There's got to be someone, but he is exceptionally fast, right? Outside shot.
Oof. Again, I'll mention Blake, say he's up there. I'd say Charlie Vogwell, and give it, I'm not going to say at the moment, but 5-6 years ago, it felt like if you were playing him, he would score if he didn't have pressure, he'd score. Dave Brooks. Yeah, they're some of the names that come to mind. Billy Ashby is 100% in that conversation. Training with him means that I see unfiltered what a ridiculous shooter he is. I know both of you have the same exposure to just, doing shooting drills. If you're against Billy, it's a bit of I'll roll the ball and wait for the next person's go because there's no point in you trying half the time. But yeah, some of those people, definitely. I will go for so hard. Actually, I'm now going to be really annoying and say someone I haven't mentioned, Neela Brennan. I'm going to go Neela as my
He was
shooter.
on my list.
Mate, the queen, there she is.
Undoubtedly. I mentioned all those great boys, but you know what? If I was to throw the ball to someone in a clutch moment to score, it's going to be Neela. So yeah, I don't really need to say much more than that. Neela's my shooter.
Ice and events.
She, for sure. Okay, running in shot.
Yeah, a bit of a random one, isn't it?
Who do I think doesn't miss runners? I
He's
think
got
I'm
a
probably
great
going to exclude a lot of Beck do not score their runners. So I think, annoyingly, I'm going to have to give us a shout out. I think John Denton would agree. A lot of us aren't good enough at finishing our bread and butter. Who else do I think is good? I'm going to say that and then say that someone that does score a lot of his easy chances is Joe Bedford. I think he, in terms of he is a great shooter on the outside, but one thing that he does better than I'd say most people is anything near around the post, including runners, he just puts them away. Yeah, I'm sure he'll annoy me about the fact that I said him for that and not other things, but yeah, he is a good running in
All
Shot
right.
taker.
Thoughts on that, Caitlin?
I know it sounds like such a simple thing, scoring your runners, but it's something I definitely noticed when watching the Dutch Korfball League, is that these players are charging in at the post at full speed. It's a lot more physical, a lot more contact is allowed, and they always finish these chances. It's really rare to see a missed runner in the Dutch Korfball leagues. Seeing someone able to do that here, actually, it is quite a talent and quite a skill when you are charging in at that pace and able to finish so regularly. And Joe was definitely someone that spring to mind for me. Creates a lot of those inside chances, but yeah, definitely scores a lot of them. So yeah, would agree on that one.
Realised actually 2 honourable mentions though. I'm going to be really annoying and want to say so many names, but Cat Brooks is someone that I think is
Solid.
just so calm, steady. One, able to get free for runners so easily, but also really, really like consistent at scoring them. And then another honourable mention would be Hannah Bealey, who I think, yeah, for Bierstead, one of the things, having played with her for England when we went to Taiwan, she scores a ridiculous number of runners, or it feels like it, where she just makes it look really simple, really easy, and you don't really notice she's done it. So yeah, there are a couple that I think, yeah, people that could have been there, but I will just stick with Joe. I said it, but yeah,
Okay.
girl-wise, they're 2
Okay.
very, very honourable mentions.
They are fantastic honourable mentions. Cat Brooks is mine. So, yeah, for sure. Right, here we go. We go Bo Jedford for the runner, and we're going for Korf IQ next. So the man with the brain. Here we go. Who are you taking? Whose brain are you taking?
So I think again, Neela would be someone that really comes to mind, and I could put Neela or Dave Brooks as being 2 people that, when I think Trojans have played their best, partly because they are just pulling the strings, like in terms of attack. Not necessarily that. Obviously, there are players that score the goals, but yeah, when you're watching either of them in an attack, I always feel like they're one step ahead of who they're playing against, or were playing against in Dave's case. So yeah, they're probably the two that come to mind. I think, look, Dav is such an experienced player. Love playing with him. Love having him on my team. He's also someone that just got an endless korfball brain, and seems to always just pick the right decision. Yeah, I go Neela or Dave? I've already got Neela for one. And to be honest, if you had asked me before, if I'd really structured it, I'd have probably given this to Neela and given something else to someone else. Dave Brooks. Dave Brooks is the king of korfball, as you called him. I think, yeah, would love him at some point to be involved in coaching a team. I can imagine he would have a lot of wisdom to input for a group of players.
Yeah, great shout. A couple of honourable mentions for me in that category. One that I think probably not many people would think of is Helen Wild West. Is actually a dream to play in a division with, and is one of those players that makes everything work. And that is partly down to her vision. Aisha Chowdhury, I'd also put in that mix. Known for defensive kind of ability, but I've played a few times with Aisha, and it was really a joy to be in a division with her because of the passes that she sees, and she'll get them to you. So those 2 I'd whack in there. But yeah, as you say, Dave Brooks, King of Korf, solid choice.
Solid choice. Right. Now, talking of Aisha's defence and talking of the king of defence here that we have here, Marcus, who are you picking as your defender? Who do you go with?
Again, I think Aisha would definitely have to be one of those names I consider. Cat Brooks as well. I'd say one of my all-time, it wasn't a nice watch because of a result, but anyone that wants to watch some top quality defending, England-Germany bronze medal match, 19, maybe it was the Lotto Arena, but watching Cat Brooks and Aisha play together as a pairing was like, for a Korf nerd, genuinely that sticks out in my head as one of the best duo performances defensively. So I'm probably going to have to pick one of them. Or do I pick Shane? I'm going to say Shane Buckland. Again, I'm going to throw you left, right, centre, everywhere. Those girls are 2 of the best, but the one player that I've seen genuinely shut down players in this league, I don't think I've ever seen Joe Bedford have an issue because of a defender before, until Shane actually was just a total nuisance when we were playing Tornadoes how many years ago. Yeah. So, sorry for leading you one way and then taking you another, but yeah, just any of those names though could be on that list. And Aisha, I'm sorry, I could have and should have picked you. I probably regret it. Shane doesn't need the credit, but yeah.
You're building your perfect player, mate. It's all part of the game, okay? All great shouts as well. Next up, we got free passes. Now, we were going to have free passes and penalties. I'm actually borderline tempted to take penalties out because I feel like, do we have it in there? We don't know. Maybe we will. But free pass, because some people that take free passes take them like they're penalties. They're that strong. So come on, who you picking? Who you picking for your guaranteed free pass scorer?
3 names come to mind. I'm going to say Rachel Turner. Playing with her is a joke because half the time I don't mind if I get fouled and I think it's a pen, and if they give a free pass, half the time I don't mind because I know Rachel will score it, so it doesn't matter. Like, it doesn't matter that I've not got the pen. So yeah, don't really need to say more. She's an amazing free pass taker. Eleanor Parker, I know that she had a break from korfball for a bit, but in her prime, I'm not sure anyone can take a free pass as well as her. So yeah, she's ridiculous. And then I'm going to throw my sister in there. Lizzie is a great shooter, and one of the things I think that she is really good at is just finding a spot, and free pass is the perfect one where I'm like, oh yeah, if you foul Bristol enough, she gets a really good number of goals from the free pass line. And same for Ireland. I know you're talking about English League, but she does it for Ireland as well. But yeah, I'm going to go out of that list. Do I go teammate or do I go? Oh, it's tough. It's tough. I'm going to go prime Eleanor Parker. I don't think I've seen anyone do look as comfortable taking them as she does. So yeah, she's my pick.
And you've just been kicked out of the family group chat, so
Hey, she got a shout out. She got a shout out for it. She has very, very strong competition for that.
Yeah, I think Eleanor's a really good shout. One that on the list that maybe we'll get into. I mean, we played an entire final with a strategy devised around not giving Neela Brennan free passes, and it's wild to think that when she was in a division with Tony Woodvine took the free passes. But Eleanor Parker probably does have the highest percentage, right? It's ridiculous. That year, 2019 or whatever, crazy. So fantastic choice. We'll go next for the collect, the rebound position, Mr. or Mrs. Recycle.
This is always where if I knew exactly which ones you were going to say, I'd have done it different. But do I go for Shane, Joe Bedford, or Johnny Nickerson? Because I think it would be one of them for me, each for different reasons. I think Joe is having to train against him. He's so strong under the post, position-wise, ridiculous, like a beast. Shane being the just pure korfballer, great positioning, but also absolute freak. So tall, arms super long. Yeah, couldn't feel like I did anything. And then Johnny just being a great rebounder, but then doing a lot of stuff around that. Any of them would be good, but I think you're gonna have to edit me out thinking about it. But
switches it up and goes straight for Blake Paffraven instantly. That's
the thought. Trust me, the thoughts crossed my mind because
we haven't talked about Blake in about 2 minutes. Let's bring him back.
I haven't spoken about Blake, and you know what? He doesn't actually ever use the rebound position correctly. He still wins the rebound.
Yeah, I know.
But no, won't go for Blake. I will go for Shane Buckland. I don't like that I've done it because, again, he's not in this league at the moment. So part of me wants to pick someone else. But if I was to say the person that genuinely I felt I couldn't get the ball off, it was him.
Fair comment. And then next up, fitness. So the stamina. Who's got the engine? Who's got the lungs?
Great question. I mean, it's difficult. It's really difficult to think of people around the league. I'd say that Beck, as a group, I think one of the reasons we're so successful is I could probably say anyone in our team. Obviously, Joe is visibly very athletic and fit, but people that I just don't think ever stop. I mean, Luke Coit McKenzie for Knights, dear friend of mine, and also one of the reasons I think he's a really good defender or if you watch him at attack, just doesn't stop working. And I think that comes down to fitness. Otherwise, again, Aisha, ridiculously fit. Maybe actually, there you go. I found a way to shoehorn Aisha a spot because actually part of the reason she's such a good defender is because of how athletic she is. So yeah, I'll go for her there. Again, shout out loads of people and I'll go swerve to another player.
I love it. Aisha Chowdhury, she gets in. And then lastly, whose temperament do you want? I guess this is we're gonna go with temperament. I was kind of half-asked, or do we do vibes here? But actually I think temperament on the court. Whose temperament are you taking?
Mentality, vibes, Ashley Warner. There is like not anyone else that I would want like on the court with me, whether we're winning or losing. She is just a joy to play with. Just, I can't really explain it in terms of people that like are able to keep a level head, back you. If I make a mistake, I know she'll be one of the first people to come over to me and like basically like, don't worry about it, get on with it, next one. Or tell me what I need to do better next time. The way she approaches the game, great. Just like training with her, utter professional. Like she is just a great person to have in your team and your squad. Can't say enough about her. Like hands down, easy choice. Her like there are loads of people like Dav's a great professional and great mentality. In terms of people that I don't, Dav, the risk with Dav is I worry that he can get angry at a referee, whereas whilst Ashley can, I don't see it from her as much. So yeah.
Yellow card in pre-season for Ashley Warner, I heard.
No comment on that decision. I think, it like, there's a reason she's captained multiple teams that she's been in. Wouldn't be surprised if in future she captains another one.
Yeah, really glad you said Ashley. I think potentially, overlooked in that aspect, but yeah, a great person to have in your team. Consistent, works hard, great vibes, and yeah, glad she got mentioned at the end there.
Yeah, and to be clear, she could have gone in some of those other slots as well. I've probably done her an injustice by not saying her name before that, but I'm glad that there was a spot there that was so obviously hers.
Yeah, absolutely. And then we'll throw it in there. Who knows if we'll include it? We're still a bit undecided, but go on. If you've got a penalty, there's 10 seconds left on the game clock. You've got someone that you need to step up and you need to score it. Whose hands are you putting the ball in?
It's either Davesh Patel or Blake Palfreman. It's one or the other. I know both of them it always shocks me when either of them miss. But yeah, I think, for longevity, I'll say Davesh. He had a nickname, I think, I'm not sure if I should use on the pod because of his ice cold nature taking pens.
I'd love for you to use it and I'll just bleep it.
Yeah,
What is it, God?
Charlie Vogel actually said it when he commentated on one of the National League finals. I believe it's Davesh Big Balls Patel.
There we go.
Can confirm that is the nickname.
And there's a reason that was the case. Wow, 10 years ago. No, 10 years ago. It might have been the final 10 years ago that was the phrase used. And yeah, you bank on him scoring. So it'll be him. Blake, again, honourable mention for him in every category. Sorry, I don't want to be the biggest fanboy ever and put for every single one of those. Decided to share the love.
I love it. Let me just quickly recap here. We have Marcus Tighe's perfect korfball player. Looks like for speed, we have Blake Palfreman. For the outside shot, we've got Neela Brennan. For the runner, we've got Joe Bedford. For the Korf brain, we've got Dave Brooks. For the defence, we have Shane Buckland. For our free passes, we have Eleanor Parker. For the penalty, we've got Dav Patel. For the rebound, we've got Shane Buckland again. For fitness, we're going to take Aisha Chowdhury's lungs. And then for the temperament, we have the legend that is Ashley Warner. I think that is some player, mate. If you could take each of those traits, I think you're looking at, it's for sure a GOAT. So, yeah.
I love it. Well, sorry for people I missed out there, but I'm pretty sure I would be more than happy if I had those attributes from those players. So, yeah.
Wicked. And I think for now, that's going to kind of wrap us up. I've mentioned multiple times in the last podcast that we're definitely getting these people back on. Marcus is a really close friend of ours. We are very, very grateful for you being here, mate. You have incredible insight into the game, a wonderful Korf brain, but more importantly, you're just a pleasure to talk to. And it's such a great privilege being able to do this. And I hope more listeners and more people understand what a tremendous player you are, but what a fantastic human being you are as well. Yeah, thank you for coming on, man. We are beyond grateful.
Thank you so much. And being able to speak to you makes this easy for us. You're clearly so knowledgeable about the game and have provided us, some really great insight and personal anecdotes. So much appreciate you giving us the time today. Thank you.
Mate, thank you both so much. Keep it up. Can't wait to hear future episodes. Yeah, cheers.
Mate. What a phenomenal human being he is, eh?
Oh, that guy. Do you know what? It's great to one, speak to someone who is as much of a nerd as we are and remember like specifics from games years ago. But I've also had that kind of, first-hand insight of playing against some of these players and playing with players. And I'd actually be really interested to see how that Build Your Perfect Player segment continues as we get different people on who've played with a completely different set of players and have seen completely different things in their korfball time. But yeah, what a great guest.
Yeah, I think he's just a wonderful, wonderful person, and the brain is, as John Denton said, fantastic. Just before we wrap up, Caitlin, I thought it would be really nice for us to briefly look ahead to the fixtures that we have coming up. To start off with, we've got Nomads 1 versus Kingfisher 1, which is just an absolutely brilliant game. I think that's going to be super tight, fantastic. We've got Norwich Knights versus Bearsted 1, which is, again, another corker, technically 10th versus 9th, but worth recognising that Knights have played the top 4 teams. We also have Bromley 1 versus Tigers 1. As Ross mentioned, it was incredibly close last year. I feel like if Tigers don't get things shooting, I feel like that could be a result for Bromley, but equally we know that they'll come back fighting for sure. We have Beck 1 versus Trojans 1, which is going to be great. Caitlin's going to be a big part of that. Really excited to watch that at the weekend. And then we also have Bristol Thunder versus Tornadoes 1. And you've got no doubt that Tornadoes are going to be going after that Bristol squad. And I think Bristol are going to come back with something to prove after last week. So your thoughts, Caitlin?
You know what? Listening to all of those, there is no clear-cut result. Maybe the bet game, maybe. Well, I'd like to think so. But yeah, really no. Either get any game could go any way. Be really interested to see that Kingfisher Nomads game. Kingfisher haven't got the tallest boys. Nomads obviously do. Be really interesting to see how both seems to set up tactically there. Hoping some games are maybe recorded, please, and well shared once they are, because there'll be some good ones here.
I can honestly say, looking at the fixtures this week and looking at the current setup of the National League and the teams that are out there, I think it's amazing. The league is so exciting right now. Super, super buzzed to be doing this. And yeah, as Caitlin said, please record them. We will throw up the league table on the screen now. There's still some adjustments to make just because people haven't played games. There's games lost because of postponement. So realistically, not probably worth taking a deep dive into right now. Maybe in a couple of weeks we will then. But that wraps up this episode, Caitlin. That wraps us up for episode 2.
Don't forget, it's a smooth machine these days.
We are well-oiled, baby. We're a well-oiled machine. It's a great episode. Had a lot of fun. We'll aim to get one out. We don't know if it's this week or next week, but we're hoping to talk to some of the Ireland and Scotland squad regarding their upcoming fixtures in the International League. And then we'll also probably bring some new segments to the show. Caitlin, anything you want to say before we wrap up?
Just a quick reminder, if you haven't, follow us on Instagram, Facebook, for Korf's sake. Subscribe to the YouTube channel, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you get the podcasts. And send us over a message on Instagram or leave comments about what you want to see. Really keen to get this podcast to kind of reflect stuff that you want to hear, questions you want asked. So yeah, fire away in the comments.
Absolutely. I absolutely love that. Yeah, for sure. Get in contact, guys. We want to hear from you. But for now, thank you so much for joining. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching whatever it is you're doing. And yeah, we look forward to the next episode with you guys. So thank you and have a wonderful evening.
Thanks, bye. Bye-bye.